welcome to a new podcast where we're breaking through and breaking it down with a new girl. Your host, Dawn Piercy. Welcome to a new podcast. My name is Dawn Piercy. I am your host. I am so pleased today to bring you the one and only Jenn Koch. She is known as the Style Dominatrix, and she's also with the Arts and Culture Network, fashion and style ambassador, and founder of Stylegasm. Jenn, tell us, you just got back from Miami. You had some work with TV. You've got all of this great stuff going on. You drove across the U.S., left everything you knew after you got back from South Africa. She followed in my steps. I'm telling you what, Route 66 is where you get your kicks and come into L.A. Jenn, how are you today?
I'm awesome. So great to talk with you.
Likewise. Tell us what you got going on. How was Miami, first off?
Oh my gosh, I had the best time. Well, I went to Art Basel, which anyone doesn't know about Art Basel. Festival isn't really quite the right word, but it's a whole actually art week. It's more than just Art Basel. All these premier artists from around the world come, and galleries, and they show their collections, and a lot of art collectors come, and it really has become this like cultural event. It's almost like a better fashion week. Like there's events, there's know music, and there's fashion, and there's galleries, like so many events. And I just had a blast to be immersed in the arts. And
that's amazing.
It was amazing.
That's one thing that I love about Los Angeles and California in generally, the whole West Coast. Most of the art and culture museums out here are literally free. You pay for parking and that's it. You go and enjoy your entire day. And who could want more? I mean, really, the architecture, the history, all of it. How did you get so involved in art? Where did your passion start?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think, when you're an artist, like you always know, I liked art, in elementary school, and I ended up starting off in art school, actually. I even applied, I did it's kind of like a year of like art boot camp. I went to Virginia Commonwealth University, which is the top public art college in the country, actually. And they have some really outstanding programs. And I went into fashion design and realized I hate to sew. So I ended up minoring in painting and fashion merchandising and getting a degree in business ultimately. But I actually don't enjoy painting anymore. Maybe for a time that I did, but I love more, like even when I was in art school, like I loved critique days. I loved looking at art. I loved, hearing the stories from the artists. I love critiquing art. I love, my favorite people to work with is called creative geniuses, which are artists in some capacity, creative people in some capacity. Right. Who are just more open to push their boundaries, be expressive. And that was so fun about Art Basel is like, I consider my art style. And so I like curating my looks, and like people just really loved it because I was walking art, and they're there.
Well, I noticed one thing that really stood out aside from your name, and we'll get to that later, maybe some behind the scenes, you'll have to tune in. So I noticed that you go by style. Is not just a brand name. It's not just a design. It's what you bring to yourself and how you express yourself in the clothes and the style and everything you're wearing. So it's more like a creative expression. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I would say style. I mean, it's always been for me. It's another way of expressing yourself. I mean, so much of communication is nonverbal. They say like 90% of it. It's not just what you say, it's like the energy of how you show up. And I really believe, like the stories the clothes we wear tell stories. There's energy in our clothes, even just the intention of, how you bought it, how it was made, what it stands for, how it's all like put together. It's like because you can like go get like a cute dress, but like it's a whole nother level when it's like literally becomes this like art piece where everything has been like intentionally, like the jewelry, the hair, the way it's all put together, and like you just feel really cohesive and like integrated. Like it really is, like I really believe style is a reflection of the inward, and we really want the inward and the outward to be in like congruency,
right? So when you went to South Africa, and I know that you had visited California a few years ago when you were visiting a friend and you absolutely fell in love with it. But when you were in South Africa and you're living in Virginia, what was going through your mind with how you were going to pack everything up and go across the states and get settled and find a place? You know, I know that is the most toe-tipping, tantalizing deed that anyone can do to do this, and it is the boldest move, and I love it. And when I seen that you did the same thing that I did, I was like, oh yeah.
Ding ding. Well, I knew that I wanted to be out here. So actually, I've lived internationally, and it's actually different. Like, 'cause I lived in Paris and lived in Bali, and those are big moves in a way, but it's also different because you just pack a couple suitcases and kind of start this new life. And there's something different about, like, literally, it's like this odyssey to like pack up all your stuff and like drive cross country. And I think in some way, maybe in some way I knew, I don't know, I wouldn't have said it at the time, but like my international travels, like, I think I kind of wanted them to like last forever, but maybe some part of me always knew that it wasn't. And so something about California feels more like this is now like actually like changing my permanent address, you know. It's like but I had been talking, so when I came back from Bali in 2020, I knew that I didn't want to stay in Virginia. And actually I came out here. I mean, I've probably been out. I mean, I was between Orange County and LA last year. I was out here 7 times. And the year before that, I was probably there, you know, a number of times. Even in 2021, I had spent 3 months out here. So it was always like, I always knew that I've always been drawn to California. Since as soon as I get off the plane, I just feel like, I just like take a deep breath and I just feel more relaxed here. So, but some, you know, and I've been talking about it, and you know, actually I had someone really get to my head like before I moved that I needed to like save, you know, a lot of money. I needed to buy a new car. I needed like my business to be at a certain level. Like I needed everything to be like in the lineup, like my dream apartment, you know, that everything needed to be like in place, and that I couldn't do that until, and then as actually in South Africa, like my friends that I was part of a retreat, but they're like, you just need to go and you should just drive country. And I never honestly thought about driving cross country because like I don't really like to drive typically, and even my parents were like, you wouldn't be, you shouldn't drive cross country, you know. It was always like, you shouldn't do that. And then they were just like, you should just do it. And something just, we were like hanging out at the spa in like wine country, South Africa outside Cape Town, and it just was like, yeah, I think I need to do this, and I need to do it like ASAP.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is most definitely awesome. I know there's one little shop that I recognize that you stopped at. It's got a big bear in it. It's in New Mexico off Route 66. I absolutely love that shop. I bought a t-shirt there. I took a picture with the bear. I had to get a selfie.
Yeah.
And then what I did was I went all the way up the West Coast. I drove up the 101 and I just went all the way up to the top and stayed there for a while, and then the view was just fantastic. Now, you have also a master class that people can join for free to find out their own style and what fits them and how to self-express. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and where they can go to find that?
Yeah, so I put together a masterclass a couple months ago, and it's really like a culmination of my work. And people always want to know, well, how do you work, and how do I really find the style that's for me? And it's actually called How to Own Your Spotlight. And it's pretty short. It's like, I think it's like 16 or 18 minutes. It's on, actually, I need to get it integrated to my site. I need to just sit down and do it. But right now it's on styledominatrix.com. But anyways, but at some point it will be connected with my site, which is have a style.
And I'll link it in your bio page too with the interview. So that way when people come and they see it, they can just click on it and go right there.
Awesome. So it shares, there's like behind the scenes of like, with my clients and just the whole process. Cause it's a lot deeper process than what people think. People always just think like, oh, you just shop for people. It's like, no, it really is a deep branding. It's a deep like reflection of who you are. It's like clearing out energetically, like who you're not. Like even I do like funeral,
like a funeral, like what you were saying, letting go of the old and beginning with the new. And and I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to be honest, when you jump into that void, it is the most magical process you will ever go through.
Yeah,
It really is.
totally. And yeah, it's scary, but it's like you're like there's something where you're really trusting like the universe. Like I don't know, I feel like I've gotten so much more connected to God this year,
That's
you know?
exactly
And
right.
yeah,
Me too. Most
yeah,
definitely. And I put all of everything I had, all of my faith into him, and he just carried me the whole way, it seemed, and put everything
yeah,
in place.
it's amazing.
Yes, it is. So where can we follow you to find out everything that you have going on, what you
Yeah.
have coming up, how people can get in touch with you to become a client?
Yeah, the place I'm most active is Instagram, which I have a stylegasm. But you can also, I know we connected through LinkedIn, and I believe I'm Jenn Koch over there, so you can connect with me
And that's
there.
Koch for those of those that are
Yeah,
streaming and not seeing the video. It may be Koch, Coach, Cook. Those are three
yeah,
pronunciations that we're familiar with.
yes.
Well, Jen, I want to say thank you so much for being a guest on a new podcast.